Well, once again, EA continues to prove why they are amongst the most detested video game publishers in the world right now. This is a company that once came out and had the audacity to ask why they're seen as a bunch of bad guys, and here they are continuing to do bad guy things. The next EA shenanigan concerns a well-known title called Apex Legends, developed by Respawn Entertainment. The free-to-play battle royale game launched on February 4th, 2019, and it became an instant hit for the first month of its lifespan, having accrued over 50 million players during that time. It's a very good game at its core. I think most people will agree on that. Respawn did a good job with the core mechanics and the general design. But the game did eventually top off and saw a significant drop in popularity and revenue, with updates rolling out slowly and content releases being underwhelming. The game has since then stabilized and continues to maintain a strong player base, though it's definitely fallen behind what still continues to be the king of Battle Royale, Fortnite. It helped that Apex Legends recently saw the release of Season 2, bringing with it new content, and most recently the game introduced a seasonal event called the Iron Crown Collection event, which comes with a limited time solo mode, reskin maps, new challenges, as well as new cosmetic items themed after the event, which can be earned through a new event store, a new currency called Crowns, and the overarching premium currency Apex Coins. Now, if you've been following Apex Legends news, then you'll know that for the most part, the game has been able to avoid the limelight of controversy for a while, having garnered generally positive reception since launch. But all of that changes with this Iron Crown event, which introduces insidious monetization elements that make it abundantly clear that EA's influence is starting to seep in. Recall that according to Respawn, this was a game that benefited from EA having very little influence during its development. But now with the game having become one of EA's cash cows, it shouldn't be all that surprising that EA is starting to get more and more handsy with the title. So here's what's wrong with the Iron Crown event. Here's how they pissed off the Apex Legends community. As part of the limited time event, players will be earning items from what's called the Iron Crown Collection, which consists of 24 items total of rare to legendary rarity. To obtain these items, players will have to open, you guessed it, event-specific loot boxes, these ones yielding one random item at a time. There is no other way to earn these items. They are completely locked behind these event-specific loot boxes. Now, by completing some of the event-specific challenges, you can earn enough of the event-specific currency, crowns, to earn a mere 2 loot boxes through gameplay. The rest of the 22, well, you'll have to buy them using the game's Apex Coins premium currency. Each of these loot boxes cost around $7 worth of Apex Coins, which by itself is pretty frickin' ridiculous. $7 for one loot box? I mean, come on. Multiply that by 22 and we're looking at $154 worth of loot box purchases in order to obtain all 24 of the Iron Crown event's collection of items. It should be noted that there are no duplicates in these loot boxes. Every loot box opening will yield a new item, so you'll never be opening more than 24 loot boxes. But here's the thing, even assuming you aren't pursuing the entire collection, even assuming you only want specific items from this collection of 24, the fact remains that because items are earned at random because of the RNG system, unless you get extremely lucky, you'll probably have to spin the slot machine quite a few times and go through stuff that you don't really want before you finally obtain the specific items you actually desire. The game could have easily mitigated all of this by allowing players to buy upfront specific items that they want, but instead, they decided to make a slot machine out of all of this, which is frustrating. Now, this is where the system goes from bad to worse. Here's where things get really gross. The most coveted item as part of this Iron Crown event is a melee weapon skin called Raven's Bite, an heirloom rarity item that takes the form of an axe. Heirloom being the highest rarity in Apex Legends. Knowing that this very rare item would be sought after by many players, having marketed it as the event's crowning jewel, what EA did was lock Raven's Bite behind having to complete the entire Iron Crown collection. That's right, in order to even have access to Raven's Bite, you have to collect all 24 event-specific Iron Crown items, 2 of which you get at random through loot boxes earned via gameplay, and 22 of which you get at random by spending $154 worth of Apex Coins on loot boxes. There is no other avenue to get Raven's Bite. You basically have to drop all that extra cash gambling away. It gets even worse though. Once you do obtain all 24 Iron Crown items, you're not just given the Raven's Bite. Oh no. What happens instead after completing the collection is that you're given access to the ability to purchase Raven's Bite, which costs 3,500 Apex coins, or about $35. I kid you not, on top of the $154 you have to spend on 22 loot boxes, you then have to spend an additional $35 to actually buy this heirloom rarity item. That's $189 you have to spend in order to obtain one freaking axe skin, and we're talking about a mandatory paywall for Raven's Bite. The cherry on top is that because this is a limited time event, that will add an extra layer of pressure for people who are financially and emotionally invested in the game to spend money on this stuff now before it goes away for good. Now, there is a way to bring down the cost of this somewhat if you buy just the right Apex Coins packs. According to Kotaku's article on the topic, if you buy the $100 Apex Coins pack and the $60 Apex Coins pack, you'll have enough bonus coins by the time you purchase the 22 Iron Crown loot boxes and complete your collection that you can just purchase the $10 Apex Coins pack afterwards and then have enough coins to buy Raven's Bite, bringing the total price down from $189 to $170, so that saves you about $19. It all sounds pretty convoluted, right? Yeah, well, that's because that's by design. It's meant to be this way. The bottom line of this whole event is that there is an axe skin that costs $170. When you put it like that in simple terms, this all sounds pretty ridiculous, which is exactly why EA connivingly obscures all of that by putting everything in terms of Apex coins and event-specific crown currency, and by paywalling things behind loot boxes that you spend $7 at a time. They never put things into real-world dollars perspective because giving people actual context and actual perspective would make them realize what a waste of money this all is, how insidious this all is. Whereas if you confuse them with layers upon layers of currencies with fancy names, loot boxes that you're spending $7 across 22 payments with a $35 extra charge at the end of the road, and all of these steps you have to take in order to reach Raven's Bite, people will lose sight of what it all amounts to and of the totality of what's being asked of them. This is exactly what was discussed during that FTC lootbox workshop when consumer advocacy organizations responded to the ESA's initiative to mandate major platforms and publishers to disclose lootbox odds by saying that this is not nearly enough on its own. As transcribed by website Games Industry, Consumer Reports Director Anna Layton had this to say about the way game publishers exploit premium currency and the way they shift perception using that, stating, quote, she went on to talk about mobile games specifically, noting the ways games such as Clash of Clans obfuscate the amount that certain things cost by distancing the final items being purchased from the real money being spent. Specifically, she said this is done by using varied pricing methods on in-game items and then requiring users to first buy in-game currency at varying price tiers with real money and then use that currency to buy items. She is absolutely spot on except for one thing. This isn't just something that happens in mobile games. More and more AAA games are adopting these kinds of monetization models that were popularized by mobile games. This has been happening for years and years now, and it's only getting worse as these companies continue to push the boundaries of what monetization schemes they can get away with. And you can see plain as day here that EA has pushed the boundaries and the goalpost with Apex Legends. The Apex Legends community sees this too. They're not stupid. One look at Reddit will reveal what a major issue this has become for so many players. Here's one post that's garnered almost 30,000 upvotes as of the publishing of this video with a headline that reads, "I'm sorry, Respawn, but this is where you lost me." The post then expressed the following: 700 coins for one pack, 7,000 for 10. You only get 2 packs from challenges. That's horrible. Just wow. Then you decide to make it so that if you unlock all 24 skins, you then get an option to buy the heirloom for 3,500 coins? I'm sorry, Respawn, but the scum of EA has been wiped all over you and you have lost my belief in this game. It's a damn shame as well, because I've already invested a lot of time and money in your game because I thought it was amazing and you actually deserved it. But man, you messed up so badly. I understand that people will defend this. I don't blame you. I actually tried my very best to be on Respawn's side on this, but they make a lot of money money already. No, I don't know the exact amount, but if the company is still running and doing well to push out content, then turnover is high and makes sense from a business perspective. Just from normal Apex packs alone, this has taken things to a new level of scum. That's an important point to bring up. Apex Legends is already making a ton of money with monetization systems that were in place prior to the Iron Crown event. Recall that the game shipped with loot boxes, introduced premium battle pass. It's already got a number of profitable monetization schemes going for it. But as we have learned over the years, for EA, the word enough does not exist in their dictionary. They'll keep pushing and pushing until the bubble bursts, until the pot boils over. This is a company that keeps claiming they have learned their lesson, that they'll do the right thing next time, that they made mistakes, but it's all BS. This is the same EA we know and hate, the same EA that's well aware of what they're doing and are doing all of this intentionally. This is the same EA that has absolutely no shame in the way they're willing to mar a game's integrity for the sake of profit. Here's another post from Reddit that's got almost 20,000 upvotes as of the publishing of this video with the headline, "Do not spend money on these new packs." The post then described exactly what I explained about how the Iron Crown system works, the way it forces you to buy 22 loot boxes before granting you access to the ability to spend another $35 for the rarest event-specific item, the heirloom item, before concluding with this: don't spend money and don't buy these packs. If you do, the next event will end up the same goddamn way where everything's behind a bullshit paywall and we won't ever get new skins for anything without spending $145. Don't condone if this bullshit EA pulls on their players. That's really the main thing about all this. If we let this fly, imagine how much worse things will get. I mean, look at how much worse things have already gotten because game companies have gotten away with pulling crap like this for so long. I know that there will be hardcore fans of Apex Legends who will try to defend the game by saying that it's a free-to-play game, that it needs to make money somehow, but being free-to-play doesn't excuse a game from resorting to the scummiest forms of monetization. Even free-to-play games have limits when it comes to how far they can push microtransactions. This goes doubly true when we're dealing with a game that continues to make EA tons of money by EA's own admittance. The fact of the matter is that EA does not have to push monetization to the extent they're doing with Iron Crown to make more than enough money to keep this game alive and then some. But they will anyway because they can, because their true customers are the investors, while the players are the cattle which Apex Legends can exploit as the game becomes more and more of a money-milking machine and less of a game, with EA slowly but surely spreading its tendrils into it. Look, are there worse monetization schemes than what EA pulled here with Apex Legends? Sure, but we could keep playing the whole, well, there are worse things out there game until we start justifying any nefarious action by simply stating, well, at least it's not the end of the universe. The existence of far worse monetization schemes does not justify what is still a very scummy monetization scheme, and coming to EA's defense on this will only enable them to inchworm their way towards worse and worse microtransactions. Defending them will only push them more and more towards a direction that we don't want the entire games industry to head in. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Everything you need to know about EA's latest scumbag move with Apex Legends. I'd love to hear what your take is on all of this in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.